In 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mary Katie, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com.
Happy Monday.
It's the end of the summer-ish, though.
No, don't say that.
We don't want to say
We're
that,
good.
but
we're going to have a really nice Halloween. The kids won't have to wear snowsuits trick-or-treating. I don't know why you're saying it's
why is it that everybody that's of a certain age always has to bring up snowsuits trick-or-treating because of 1991?
We grew up here. This happened. My whole costume, situation as a child was always predicated on the weather. One year I was just a chocolate chip cookie.
Exactly. Exactly. It's always, everybody always brings up the snowshoeing trick-or-treating in 1991.
Yeah.
It's like just automatic for people of a certain age, right?
It has damaged us as a community.
Well, we'll put that aside and bring back
Let's talk about the real damage.
The good thoughts.
Oh, good.
Yes, the good things. First off, I know we're talking about obviously a couple of big positions that are going to need to be hired in the city over the next year. Just give us a quick update of what is where we're at as far as police chief and fire chief for the city.
Yeah, so obviously the first opening we'll have right now is police chief. Chief Bliven is moving on to his second wind career. We wish him well, but that'll be in September. So we're kind of moving ahead, hoping to get that process wrapped up before he leaves. So the next few weeks, you should probably be hearing more. We'll be scheduling interviews. When I say we, it's our HR department and the Police and Fire Commission. They've really largely left me out of it, but I've been asking questions about how the process is going. Really good. We got lots of good folks applying. I know they did some pre-screening, and so we anticipate that coming up. Same with Fire Chief. A little less urgent because Chief Bartek is retiring at the end of the year, so we have a little bit of time, but we're still forging ahead, so there's that overlap.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want in a position like this. The more institutional knowledge that can pass between one to the other, the better.
Yep.
I know there had discussions about internal candidates. Are we expecting internal candidates for both? Can you confirm and deny that?
Yeah, I don't know why I can't confirm it. I do know that we had internal candidates for both positions, so that was expected. We did, how many listening sessions did we do? I was over at the safety building for what felt like 2 weeks in a row, just all day, every day. We did listening sessions with the teams, and they have really told us what they were looking for in the next chiefs. And they especially they wanted us to look very hard at internal candidates. They thought that their team was developing in a really impactful way, and they wanted to see more of that and continue the momentum. But, obviously we're doing what's right for our entire city. We're choosing the right leaders. So we'll see what happens. But I do know we've had candidates internally.
All right. And as far as the importance of this position, obviously you don't want something like this to happen simultaneously. One did not impact the other. It just so happened that this is the way it fell. What is the importance of these positions for the community?
Yeah, it's super important for, first of all, the teams, right? This continuity of leadership, it's really important to be able to call the shots, make sure you have somebody there who's a strong leader, and isn't just an interim leader, right? Like that's one of the things we learned over the last time when we were hiring for a fire chief is that interim role is a challenge because everyone's kind of unsure of what's next. There we go.
Yes, indeed. Looks like we're good though. So,
but the community, also for the community, people need to know who's in charge of these departments. They're really important. They're the majority of our budget, so we want to make sure that we have the right leader.
And the one thing that I've heard, kind of over and over with these positions is the chief position isn't the person who's going to be out patrolling.
Right.
It's not the person who is actually going to be running the hose when your home does start on fire, or if your home starts on fire. They're the ones who are taking care of the persons and the people that are actually doing that.
Yeah, both of these organizations, police and fire, they're paramilitary organizations. So this chain of command is so important to get right. And, it'd be nice if we ran other departments like that too, frankly, because everybody kind of knows what they're supposed to be doing and when. It's really important. So that's important. They're calling the shots. And you might see them in those big, challenging times for our community. You will see them out. One of the things I learned right away is fire chief, for instance, if you see them out on a scene, they'll have their badge is white on their helmet and their helmet is white. So you know who's in charge if you have questions.
Indeed. Well, we look forward to seeing where this goes because, again, this is as you mentioned, a hire that you certainly want to get right.
Oh yeah,
for the
community. We have to get it right. So no pressure, Police and Fire Commission.
Right, yeah, right. And we've got. I'm sure we've got faith in.
Oh yeah, we got a good team working on this.
Absolutely. So next up, then, obviously the water situation. Again, just a standing topic these days.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the installation process for a new granular activated carbon system?
Yeah, so as you know, we are still using our temporary system, which is that anionic exchange with the PFAS attracting resin. So that's still happening right now. As of the beginning of the week prior to this video airing, we are planning our first swap out of that resin. To make sure that we're staying below that 20 parts per trillion and even lower because we prefer that. But the bid went out for the granular activated carbon. We have borrowed the money, short-term borrowing, so good interest rate, yay. And we also were told that we will be awarded 70% forgivable loans from the DNR to cover both the temporary solution that we're using and the permanent. So we're excited for that. We'll continue trying to find money everywhere we can. You know, you walked into me digging through the couch, looking for couch pennies.
Indeed.
Super important. But yeah, we'll move ahead with that. We're expecting that to start building out next year and be done by the end of the year. Hopefully sooner, but you know how construction is these days. It's a little wild.
Yeah, it certainly is. But 70% forgivable loans for this, is that about huge. What you were expecting?
That was more optimistic than I was expecting. And you know, I wish it was for the whole thing, but it's for the granular activated carbon and PFAS remediation. So.
Indeed. And so as far as financing on this goes, then do you have any sort of update as to where we are with getting that other money? As you said, the couch cushion money, federal money, settlement money, which has been a whole nother thing.
You are like lately. Ripping this all open in a way that I love. Okay, so yes-ish. You know, our bid for the build out was a lot lower than we were expecting. So we're excited about that, first of all. So saving money right off the bat. And then the lawsuits, right? We're involved in multiple, if you didn't know, maybe 3 or 4. So the first one was the one that everyone's talking about right now, with 3M and the attorneys general now kind of opposing the settlement. And I guess, you know, that was anticipated. People were expecting that feedback. And I guess their opposition is going to make this settlement or court case, however it ends up being sorted out, even better. So we anticipate that to continue. Not as short a settlement as, you know, we initially thought, but, you know, we keep moving forward.
Yeah. So at any time we're hearing that we're getting money out of a settlement or getting money anywhere that is not coming out of the taxpayers' pockets is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we were pushing so hard for changes to shared revenue, right? Because we want to make sure that we're able to capitalize on that as well. So we're expecting that to show up. You know, a little more than $1 million. But of course, things like health insurance premiums are going up. So, you know, the finance committee will have their work cut out for them.
Yes, it's going to be a very big, very important budget coming up here. And of course, we're just getting dug into that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure, right?
Oh, man. Marion and I are talking every day about this budget and what kind of message we want to send with it. So really important that we get this right. So we should expect something. I don't want to give you a timeline, but in the next few weeks.
As long as it's done before Thanksgiving, correct?
Yeah, it's got to be done, right? And, you know, we've already started our capital improvement planning process. That group has been meeting since, maybe the end of June. So we really have a good handle on it. We'll expect more discussions about our remaining ARPA funding. So lots of good stuff coming up here.
Yes, indeed. One more thing that everybody was talking about last week.
That could be anything, man.
Really, yes, it could be. That does not narrow it down at all. Was the amended agreement for the Foundry on 3rd. Give us an idea of where we are with this right now, because that actually became a
flashpoint.
Fairly big discussion at City Council last week.
Yeah, it was a big discussion. So, you know, we were expected to vote on this, and it's essentially to change the date. But, you know, there's a lot more that goes into these agreements and using public funds. And, you know, it wasn't simply a date change to the community and to our council. So, you know, we had people with questions. I had people asking me, could we have closed session? I have questions for the attorney. How do I get in touch with them? So we wanted to make sure that we gave everyone the opportunity to get their questions answered. So ultimately, the council voted to table it until the special session meeting. And, we're struggling to get everyone together, and everyone who's responded to our poll has said, I can't make this time, but I want to make this meeting. Please make sure I'm allowed to make this meeting. So we're trying to be really careful with how we're scheduling it so that everyone who wants to talk about this and vote on it, which is everyone, can. So we're expecting that in the next 2 weeks.
Yes, it started with Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of this week.
I tried so hard.
That didn't happen. It doesn't look like next week is going to happen either, but still before the end of the month, you want to be able to get this done.
Yes.
I mean, have you gotten, obviously you can't reveal too much of what's said in closed session, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Have you gotten a sense of what issues some of the council is maybe having with this?
Yeah.
Because it's on the surface, it seems straightforward. You're simply delaying the groundbreaking by 9 months or thereabouts.
Yeah, and so that's the way that our internal teams have kind of viewed it, and even our outside counsel. This is changing a date. However, people are concerned about what this means. Because the city has some work to do too. We're updating the infrastructure, we're doing a variety of things. So there's some implications that people are curious about. I don't really have the specific questions yet. The council's going to email either the attorney or development director. I expect them to email directly them. So I don't have specific questions yet, but there's implications, and especially our duty to fulfill our end of the bargain, and so far we've done it. So that's also, there's a sore spot, right, that we're being asked for a delay. But as we've seen with almost every development project here, there's been a delay, and I'm seeing it across the state as well. I think something very similar has just happened in Oshkosh, so I was going to give their manager a call and see how they're doing and what they expect and how the discussions have gone for them. So.
Yeah, because as Development Director Brodegg said, this isn't just Wausau, it's not just this developer, and it's more specifically not just this project. There are still difficulties everywhere along the line of development, from construction to financing and things like that. I mean, have you gotten any indication that this might be something that is going to fall apart over the next
I don't have that indication. And, I've had some pretty frank conversations. So I'm hearing from everyone when I've flat out asked, are we still doing this? The answer is absolutely yes. Why would you even question that? So feel confident about the answer they're giving me. But we'll continue having those conversations, right? I'm going to check out some of the developments elsewhere, see how they're progressing, and we'll have a good conversation at the next city council meeting. So we always do.
No doubt about it. But that's a great point, though. How often, when you're in a spot like this, are you calling your peers in Oshkosh, or maybe even your peers out of state?
Yeah, it's super critical for me to continue that conversation with folks, because sometimes you wonder, am I being treated differently because of the fact that I'm Katie Rosenberg, or is it that I'm mayor, or is it what about the characteristics and attributes I bring to the table, right? Am I being treated differently? And so it's always nice to hear from other folks who have different backgrounds, different ways of approaching these problems. No, it's not because of who you are, it's the market. Or sometimes it is. I did have a mayor tell me I can see why you might be having problems. So, and again, when I am frank and I ask those questions, it's that never came into the calculus. So, I like to trust people and what they tell me and believe that to be the truth.
All right. Well, we always appreciate the time, Mayor Katie. We'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Thank you.